You've been training harder than almost everyone you know, and you're still getting slower, not plateauing. Slower. And the worst part? You have no idea why. Let me tell you something that's going to sting a little. That VO2 max score you're so proud of. The one your smartwatch flashes at you like a trophy. It might be the exact reason you're stuck. Not because it's wrong, because you completely misunderstand what it means. And every run you've done for the past 6 months has been built on that misunderstanding. Pause for a second. Look at your last 10 training runs. Go ahead, pull them up. I'll wait. What do you see? I'm going to guess that most of them land somewhere in that uncomfortable middle zone. Not easy enough to be recovery, not hard enough to be a real workout. You're grinding. Every single day, you're grinding. You think that's discipline. It's not. It's self-sabotage dressed up as dedication. Here's what VO2 max actually is. It's the size of your engine. That's it. It's the maximum amount of oxygen your body can use per minute per kilogram of body weight. A Ferrari engine. Big, powerful, impressive on paper. But here's a question. Nobody asks you, what good is a Ferrari engine if your transmission is broken? What good is raw power if you can't actually use it when it counts? A Ferrari with a blown transmission sits in the driveway looking expensive. That's you on mile 18 of a half marathon, fading hard, watching people with worse numbers pass you. Like you're standing still, ridiculous, and completely fixable. The myth you've been sold, no pain, no gain, is one of the most destructive ideas in recreational running. Physiologically, it is garbage, and I don't say that to be harsh. I say it because the science is unambiguous, and you deserve to hear the truth. When you run in that uncomfortable middle zone, your body is under enough stress that it can't fully recover, but not under enough stimulus to actually drive adaptation. You're getting the worst of both worlds. You're accumulating fatigue without accumulating fitness. Every day, week after week, you wake up tired, your legs feel heavy, your times don't improve, and you tell yourself you just need to push harder. Harder is not the answer. Smarter is the answer. Those are not the same thing. So let's talk about what's actually going on inside your body, because once you understand this, you will never think about your runs the same way again. There are 3 things that determine how fast you run over any meaningful distance. Your VO2 max is the first, the ceiling of your potential, the size of the engine. Most recreational runners are obsessed with this number. They chase it, they test it, they brag about it, and then they wonder why their race times don't match. Here's why. Your VO2 max is nearly impossible to dramatically improve after your mid-20s. It has a hard genetic ceiling. You can nudge it. You cannot transform it. So stop treating it like the Holy Grail. The second pillar is your lactate threshold. This is where the real race is won and lost, and almost nobody talks about it the way they should. Your lactate threshold is the speed at which your body starts producing lactic acid faster than it can clear it. Think of it as the red line on your engine, the point where it starts smoking. A high VO2 max just means you have a big engine. Your lactate threshold determines how long you can actually run that engine hard without blowing it up. 2 runners with identical VO2 max scores can have wildly different lactate thresholds. The one with the higher threshold will win every single time. And here's the beautiful part. Unlike your VO2 max ceiling, your lactate threshold is highly trainable. That's your leverage point. That's where your fitness actually lives. The third pillar is running economy. This is your fuel efficiency. It's how much energy you burn per step at any given pace. Think about 2 cars with the same engine, size. One gets 40 miles per gallon, one gets 20. Same engine, completely different performance over a long drive. Running economy is your 40 miles per gallon. Elite runners are not just fit, they are efficient. Their bodies have learned through thousands of miles of proper training to waste almost nothing. Every stride is clean, every breath is optimized, every muscle fires exactly when it needs to and relaxes completely when it doesn't. And here's the cruel irony. Chronic overtraining, that grinding middle zone you love so much, it actively destroys your running economy. Your body gets tighter, your form gets sloppier, your efficiency drops, you work harder and go slower. Is that clicking for you right now? That should be clicking. Now stop for a moment and think about this. If your lactate threshold and your running economy are the two most trainable, most race-relevant variables in your running performance, and they are, why are you spending almost zero time training them correctly? Because nobody told you what correctly means until now. 80% of your runs should feel embarrassingly easy. I know that sounds wrong. I know every instinct you have is telling you that easy runs are wasted runs. That instinct is costing you months of progress. When you run slow, genuinely slow, zone 2, conversational pace, the kind of pace where your ego files a formal complaint, your body is building mitochondrial density. Mitochondria are the power plants inside your muscle cells. More mitochondria means more capacity to produce aerobic energy, which means you can run faster before you hit that lactate red line. You are literally building a better engine, not by running hard, but by running easy. And it takes time. It takes consistent, patient, deliberately boring, easy miles. That's the actual work. And most runners won't do it because it doesn't feel like work. That's your competitive advantage right there, hiding in plain sight. The other 20%, the hard 20, that's where your lactate threshold gets pushed. Not crushed, pushed. Tempo runs at roughly 85 to 90% of your maximum effort, where you're working hard but controlled. Not gasping. Not dying. Hard, but sustainable for 20-25 minutes. These are called threshold runs or pace reference runs, and their entire purpose is to teach your body to hold a high red line for longer. Then there are long intervals, 1200s, mile repeats, where you're pushing above threshold briefly, then recovering, then pushing again. These teach your cardiovascular system to recover faster and your muscles to buffer lactate more efficiently. You're training your body to clear the smoke quicker. And the one workout that is almost universally ignored, the one that probably matters most for recreational runners, the long, easy run. Not a long, hard run, a long, easy run. 2.5 hours at a pace that feels almost insultingly slow. This is where your fat metabolism develops. This is where your tendons and connective tissue strengthen. This is where running economy is forged. Skip this, and you are skipping the foundation of everything. Now let me tell you about your breathing, because this is the thing that will change your next run before you even get to the training. When you go hard and your lungs start screaming, what's your instinct? Breathe in more, right? Get more oxygen in. Logical, also wrong. The sensation you feel, that burning, desperate need to breathe, is not oxygen deprivation. Your blood oxygen saturation is almost certainly fine. What you're actually reacting to is carbon dioxide buildup. CO2, not a lack of O2. Your body reads high CO2 as an emergency signal. The fix is not to inhale more. The fix is to exhale better. Force the CO2 out. Longer, fuller exhales. When you do that, the desperate need for air drops almost immediately because you've removed the actual trigger. There's a breathing pattern that makes a measurable difference for runners, and it sounds almost too simple. 3 counts in through your nose, 2 counts out through your mouth, in for 3 steps, out for 2 steps. The 3-2 rhythm. It coordinates your breathing with your foot strike, in a way that distributes the impact stress more evenly between your left and right sides, and it forces you into a fuller exhale cycle. Practice it now, on your easy runs, until it becomes automatic. Then when you're pushing hard and things get ugly, you have a tool. You don't panic, you exhale, reset the rhythm, and keep moving. That's the difference between a runner who fades and a runner who finishes strong. So what does 8 weeks of actually doing this right look like? Week 1 through 3. The only rule is that 80% of everything you run must be genuinely easy. Zone 2. No ego. If that means slowing down by 2 minutes per mile, slow down by 2 minutes per mile. Your fitness will feel like it's going backwards. It is not. You are rebuilding the base that chronic overtraining eroded. In weeks 4 and 5, you introduce one tempo run per week. 20 to 25 minutes at that 85 to 90% effort. Not a race, not an all-out effort. Controlled discomfort. Weeks 6 and 7, you add one long interval session. 4 to 6 times 800 meters or 1 mile at a hard but manageable pace with equal recovery time. And every single week, without fail, one long, easy run. 2 to 2.5 hours. Embarrassingly slow. Non-negotiable. Week 8, you test. Not a race, a time trial. Your own course, your own conditions, and you will be faster. Not because you trained harder, because you finally trained right. Be honest with yourself right now. How many of your recent runs have actually been easy? How many have been in that dead middle zone that produces nothing? You know the answer. And here's the real aha moment I want you to sit with before your next run. The runners who seem to improve effortlessly, the ones who show up to a race and just look like they belong there. They're not suffering more than you in training. They're suffering less. They're protecting their easy days so their hard days actually mean something. They have a transmission that matches their engine. They've built the full car, not just the motor. Your VO2 max was never the problem. It never was. The problem was chasing a number that doesn't tell the whole story, while ignoring the variables that actually respond to training. Start with easy, be patient with easy, and then make your hard days count. Now, here's something I want you to think about between now and next week. You just heard about the 80-20 rule, and you probably have questions. Specifically, how do you actually structure that split without losing fitness, without feeling like you're going soft, and without spending 6 months getting there? That's exactly what the next episode is about. 80-20 running. The training method that elite coaches have used for decades that most recreational runners dismiss as too boring, too slow, too basic. And that dismissal is exactly why most recreational runners never break through. Next week, I'm going to show you the full blueprint, and I think it's going to change how you look at every single run on your calendar. If this hit something real for you today, subscribe. Not for me. For the version of you that's going to be racing 6 months from now, wondering why you waited this long. I'll see you in the next one.